Alright, we're here with a different jungle pick. Oh, Mowgli is also in now instead of Spirit, but I don't think that was actually the problem. I think that Kuro was the problem. Cloud9 having Braum and Lucian, this does mean that Afrika could go for Kaisa or could go for Xayah. And if they do end up going for Xayah, it's not going to be Jakan. But anyways, Kaisa ends up getting locked in for Afrika Freaks. Moving into the second ban phase, Afrika now banning the LeBlanc. LeBlanc is a really scary champion, but you should be competent enough to actually resist playing against it, especially when you have counterpick on red side, so I do think that's Afrika showing a little bit of weakness. This is a very scary spot. Cloud9 banning the same champions they just banned in the game before. Now Afrika picking Ryze in mid lane. So they're actually saving the counterpick for top lane. But when you already know what the top lane matchup is, I don't know why you wouldn't just pick it right up in top. Keen is one of the premier top Ryze players in Korea. Keen and Khan are the two top Ryze mains that can play him, and Ryze actually is one of the best champions into Aatrox. So wouldn't be too surprised to see him picked up there. And Afrika now hovering Kassadin after Graves was just locked in. So Cloud9 actually has an even more aggressive team composition this time around. Well, it's more aggressive in the fact that I think that it's able to be more flexible with its directions as the game unfolds. Like, whereas Xin Zhao and LeBlanc have to basically keep going ham and they have to keep the pressure up, Graves and Ahri have options. But they have options in an aggressive sense with how they can twist the game and twist control. For Afrika Freaks, they end up locking in Victor last. And they are sending Ryze up into top lane, and it looks like Victor's going to be mid lane. But I don't think that that would actually be the best setup. I don't know if I've seen clips from this game. I don't think so. Let's fast forward a little bit. God. Is this the pause? Okay. Alright, so Victor is going top, and you have Ryze in mid. So let's talk about what the team compositions want to do. A lot of scaling on the side of Afrika Freaks. And then on the side of Cloud9, they have an insurance policy inside of Aatrox and Graves, but the other champions obviously want to be accelerating and getting ahead. It's also really, really oppressive if any of the laners on Cloud9 get ahead even slightly. And the reason that I say that is because Ryze needs time, Kaisa is going to need time, and Mowgli is going to be getting pulled at. Once again, for Afrika, they have the same exact type of a setup. They have a jungler that wants to play towards the mid and the bottom half of the map. So you're going to see, ideally, Xin Zhao being played inside of this rectangle. If we see Xin Zhao not being played inside of this rectangle, it means that there's problems going on similar to last game, because Keen is completely fine with being isolated up in that top lane matchup. And Graves, he does have a little bit more incentive than the previous game where Svenskeren was on the Xin Zhao to path up to top lane, because Graves is one of the few champions that I think doesn't really have too big of a problem stealing away enemy golems or having to path into enemy wraiths and steal them away. So in that regard, Svenskeren has a little bit of a better time this time around. If Cloud9 goes into the mid game on even footing, they're massively far behind of Afrika Freaks, especially later on that this game ends up unfolding. It becomes increasingly more difficult for Cloud9 to actually break into Afrika's red side jungle. Victor's wave clear is going to probably prove to be a little bit too powerful for Cloud9 if Lucian doesn't have the culling to free open waves, and it's going to become really difficult for Cloud9 to actually penetrate turrets, and they have a heavy reliance on getting the initial Rift Herald of the game. So Afrika have this like mid-rangey super scaling comp. The whole point is, can they get to it? A lot of pressure is on Mowgli to guarantee that this happens. So this is a game that is really decided by jungler matchups and jungle pressure, unless the laners are just being completely boosted players like Kuro's Kassadin in the last game. Someone in chat is commenting on Q max Victor. Yes, you put Victor's Q to 3 points and then you max Z, I believe. Or at least that used to be what you do. Maybe people are actually outright maxing it to 5 points. So Mowgli is starting on the left-hand side, so he can path into the right-hand side, although we could probably see Mowgli go for some sort of like Scuttle Crab shenanigans early on. Since Garen is doing an identical route to what he just did in the previous game, red into Scuttle Crab yet again. This time around, Kuro should not die. And they actually knew where Sven just was. And so right now, Mowgli's actually pathing up into... Okay, it looks like he was going to go to top lane, but instead he's just going for a really big wraparound. Probably should know that Licorice has that ward. I'm assuming that he knows that he's on top of a ward. Mowgli now going into the blue, starts it right away. And so Garen's actually kiting south rather than north, which is a little bit interesting. And he's conceding the blue right away. He even has his trinket available. He could have shot it over into the wall to get a better read on Mowgli, but maybe he's just anticipating that perhaps Mowgli is waiting in the brush to jump onto him, and he doesn't want to mess with that. So anyways, they don't have exact intel on Mowgli right now, but that's fine. Svenskeren eats his wolves, pass immediately into the blue, and you can see that what Mowgli was trying to do was this. This was what his intended route was going to be. Provides a lot of comfort and protection for Keen up in top lane, lets him try to exert dominance over the Aatrox, and it completely decimates Graves' left side jungle, and it doesn't leave him with anything to do. He can't just simply eat his red, the Scuttle Crab, the Wraiths, the Wolves, and then path up here, because all he's going to have is a Gromp. He doesn't have the blue to eat, and then he also knows that he doesn't have any camps to steal away from Mowgli. So if Victor ends up fading a gank, then Svenskeren falls really far behind because he's going to be extremely delayed in trying to get to his golems. And then Mowgli gets his entire right-hand side. Jensen ends up falling to a gank in mid lane. So this game's actually starting out quite well for Freaka Freaks. I think that they're getting everything that they want. They got a kill for Kuro in mid lane. Svenskaren's keeping up in the jungle pathing right now anyway. A little bit unfortunate about Jensen's death down in bottom. You can see that now he's eating the golems. Looks like a trade is actually being taken, but Svenskeren is here. Not able to find anything there. He ends up showing himself on the map. Mowgli is now ahead because of that failed gank attempt, at least in terms of tempo. And now Mowgli coming down into bottom lane, but it looks like Cloud9 is reading this relatively well. Do they have a ward? No. I think Tushin gave that away. This looks like really bad coordination to set up this gank. Yeah, I don't know. That's really strange. Kramer clicked somewhere inside of here, and then Tushin walked past the minion. That's just... It makes the opponents really uneasy. And this can be a mind game that you can definitely use. Like, let's say, for instance, right now, Mowgli was right here. Cloud9 would react the same way, and you can use stuff like this to try to skew lane state. And if you do it enough times, it sort of becomes like the boy who cried wolf. You know, like maybe Cloud9 just says like, no, you're bullshitting, but then your jungler actually is there. And this is actually looking like it's gonna turn out okay. Because now Tushin can walk at them, and then Cloud9 likely just won't believe it. Although, Cloud9 does see that the Wraith camp comes up, and they see that no one's taking it, and then Xin Zhao hasn't showed anywhere on the map, so it becomes a pretty big guessing game. Mowgli's here. Oh, wow, that was really good. That was a really good turn by Cloud9. They end up getting the flash out of Xin Zhao. Afrika is... they're looking like they feel hard-pressed to make action happen, when realistically, all that Xin needs to do is control the rivers. At this point, when you got Ryze the advantage and you enabled Victor to just have a natural advantage because of your early game pathing, all that you had to do at that point is control both sides of the rivers and deny Graves any option to actually gank. Even if it means that Xin falls behind one extra camp to Graves per minute, that's such a worthwhile trade because you end up just getting your laners so far ahead, and the mid-game teamfights are going to be so good. Graves needs so much more gold than Xin Zhao in order to be relevant in the mid-game teamfights. Cloud9 getting the Cloud Drake. Jensen recovered well in mid lane in the CS. Sneaky and Zeyzal are doing really, really good in bottom. I don't know why Kramer keep... Oh, okay, Keen. That's a solo kill. Oh, that's really, really good for Afreeca. The problem is that the dragon's gone. If the dragon was still alive right now and it was a worthwhile dragon, you could have Victor recall, run down to dragon, get the dragon, and then look to apply pressure bottom and raise bottom tier 1 turret, even if no chip damage has been done to it. That's what can happen at solo kills that happen around the 10-minute mark, depending on the matchup. He ends up getting Ninja Tabby, and he has a Hex Core upgrade, so top left to get chip damage and just poke onto Afreeca's bottom lane. Victor's so far ahead. All that you have to do is not fucking... Wow, that was really good. That was good. That was really good by Kuro. It was really good that Sven was there to salvage it. But Jensen handshook a trade that clearly he couldn't win, which is a little bit worrying. He misses the charm, though. If he hits the charm, this is a different story. Well, it's not an entirely different story, because Kuro does have cleanse. It was just obviously unfortunate for Jensen to get locked up like that via the Rune Prison. Sven's able to salvage it, though, and then he comes into mid lane to get the CS. But then Keen is here to get the CS as well, so it's not like it's a total loss for Afreeca. But right now, as long as they just let Victor get ahead, the game just... I don't know what the fuck Afreeca's bottom lane is doing. Keen is definitely getting pressured by the other lanes, which is really unfortunate. Sneaky is doing fantastic. I think that Mowgli has played the early into mid-game poorly. I mean, he's doing well on paper. He has 2 assists. But realistically, he's not doing what he could have been doing. That's a lot of good damage. This is really good by Kuro and Tushin. They end up getting another kill onto Jensen. They end up raising bottom tier 1 turret. Licorice is dead again. Yeah, that's dead. Keen is just fucking shitting down his throat right now. This is another one of those awkward situations where if you rotate your bottom lane into like, so here's the thing, right? Infernal's coming up in 15 seconds. And if you rotate your bottom lane to top, yes, you keep control over the top tier 1 turrets and you're in close proximity to the Herald, but you're away from the Infernal Drake, which is more valuable than losing top tier 1 and losing the Herald, because you can just scale. Your game plan is already to scale, and the champions that you need the gold on the most for the mid-game teamfights have the gold. You have 3 kills on Ryze, you have three kills on Victor. Even if you concede top tier 1 and Rift Herald, if you end up getting bottom tier 1 and you get the Infernal Drake, that's better for you. Because what probably is going to end up happening, if Ryze's turret is even remotely healthy, I can't see it right now. Yeah, it's still relatively healthy. Cloud9 would probably get the Herald, kill the top tier 1, use it on the top tier 2, and get 2 economic turrets, which would be really good for a game acceleration. The problem is that there's going to be no neutral objective on the map anymore after they take the Herald and the Infernal Drake goes down, so there's no reason for Afreeca to actually teamfight, so you just use Victor's wave clear, Ryze's wave clear even, to just prevent Cloud9 from being able to fight. Okay, so Afreeca is getting the Infernal. The one champion that could have been able to resist the top lane thing would have been Victor, if they go for a tier 2. Especially because he has the Ninja Tabby, he almost has Iceborne Gauntlet. It's very, very hard to bring him down. He even has Flash available. You can just say that Afreeca, like, they can't actually walk up to the turret. It does look like Sinskaran's actually going to use Herald on the tier 2. Never mind, he's backing off. So Afrika is... I like what Licorice is doing. He's capitalizing on eating the golems. And at this point, it's a little bit awkward. Because if you use the Herald in mid lane, again, there's no neutral objectives on the map, so you can't force Afrika to fight you. Afrika is ahead right now. Not like a little bit, but not a lot. Like, medium amount of ahead. I don't know why Afrika's looking for a team fight. Yes, Victor just came off of his Iceborne Gauntlet, but you do not need to be team fighting here. Cloud9 has no ability to penetrate mid-turret. What's the cumulative levels? So what, you have 49 for Cloud9, and what? Okay, so, alright. I mean, they're very similar in levels. So the minions aren't going to be getting influenced that much. Oh, Keen is so important. Ah, man. He dies to... that sucks. And Kuro able to pick up that last kill. So, right after this fight, my gripe is that it looks like Afrika is looking for a fight, and it looks like Cloud9's looking for it as well. Cloud9 needs a fight to happen. If we ask ourselves, like, what do both teams need, right? Cloud9 needs to fight, right? They need to use their temporary gold... Not gold advantage. They don't have a gold advantage. They need to use their temporary pressure that they've exerted on the map in order to try to induce a team fight of some nature, because no neutral objective, no neutral objective. So if the game just stalls for a minute and the waves just keep bouncing into top and bottom and into mid and getting wave cleared over and over and over, Victor, Ryze, and Kai'Sa just keep scaling. So without a reliable way to crack the turrets, the game's just going to fall on its head. Cloud9 loses. All right. So Cloud9 needs to fight, or Cloud9 needs picks, right? Picks are a little bit difficult with this team composition unless Ahri just gets a charm from Fog of War, right? So this is what Cloud9 needs to happen. What Afrika needs to happen is scale, right? That's it. That's literally it. Now, what does Afrika want to happen? Well, Afrika wants gold, right? Because gold is always nice. Afrika probably wants top tier 1, right? So they want top tier 1 and they want mid tier 1. But these are wants, right? So if you're Afrika and you ask yourselves, okay, like even though we want gold, even though we want kills, even though we want top tier 1, even though we want mid tier 1, what does the opponent need to happen right now? And then you end up seeing that they need fights or they need picks. So all that you do is you drop everything and you just do what's necessary to prevent the needs of the opponent from happening, rather than your wants. A lot of pro teams tend to do what they want to do rather than what the enemy team needs to happen. So Afrika is handshaking this, even though they could have easily have just basically been like, okay, we're not going to do this. Like, rewind even further. See this right here? They don't need to keep sending the bottom lane up to top. Because look at where Cloud9 is, right? Lucian needs to do something. Lucian can't just sit in mid lane and be like, yeah, we're chilling. Lucian has to go up to top. He has to keep getting gold because this entire Cloud9 team composition has to accelerate ahead of the opponent and then use their first item, second item, etc. to try to break Afrika before Kai'Sa, Ryze, and Victor can keep scaling. Right? So you know that Lucian's just going to go top lane and eat this wave, which means it's just going to get bounced into you. There's no fucking objective on the map. You're not obligated to fight over anything. It doesn't matter if Cloud9 gets vision inside your red side jungle. It's just luxury vision. It doesn't actually allow them to do anything. So Afrika is pathing up into top lane like complete donkeys, and they're going to allow this to transpire, but not only are they allowing it to transpire, they're also handshaking it, which is ridiculous in and of itself. And so now after this fight ends up unfolding, Mowgli and Kuro come into mid lane. They push really hard, and it looks like they're going to raise the mid tier 1 turret. And it also looks like Subtle Crab's going to come up. Take a look at the fight again. And you can see that Jensen actually does a really good job landing that cleanse onto Keen. And then Svenskeren was able to help out right at the end there. Licorice flashed away, but it didn't really matter as Kuro was able to get onto him. And right now, I mean, Afreeca is still in a fantastic spot. The gold is still really close because Sneaky's doing such a good job in the CS department. And it's really making up for what happened elsewhere. That was really close by Jensen. They used the Rift Herald mid, but you can see that this isn't a worthwhile Rift Herald. It doesn't actually net them too much. Because at this point in the game, Drake's not coming up for a while, unless you're talking about 100 Thieves. And Afreeca, why is Kramer shoving this far? Why is he going this deep? What's going on here? Is he gonna try to pressure the bottom tier 2? It looks like he is. He might even actually get it though because Cloud9's not responding. What does Afreeca know about? They see Graves. Now I'm just looking for when Graves goes in Fog of War. Do they see him go Alright, so they see him go left side Fog of War, but then they don't see anything after that. And then when Kramer shows intent to already keep pushing, Ahri still isn't visible. So they're making these decisions before they know what Sven and Jensen want to do, which is a little bit surprising. Then they get confirmation that Graves is still on the left-hand side, but Ahri still hasn't shown. Oh no, I think Victor saw Ahri. Alright, I guess that's fine. Yeah, they got confirmation that Graves is still on the left-hand side. They're going to be able to raise bottom tier 2. Wow. So, mid has no minions, and Cloud9 is really pushing hard up in top lane. Jesus Christ, they just actually went ham at that. That was just so decisive and quick and clean. Even though Keen was there. Afreeca should have just been willing to trade tier 2 for tier 2. It benefits them more. Any sort of a gold trade like this benefits Afreeca more. And it's not even because this is an economic turret and this is an objective turret. It just has to do with the fact that the scaling team comp is going to benefit from slowed game states. And opening up turrets too quickly is naturally going to cause the game to slow down, because of the distance that the minions have to travel before being met with resistance. No, I didn't say that 2 kills in a turret is equal to 1 turret. I said 1 turret is equal to a turret. The 2 kills is good for Cloud9 to get, because Afreeca shouldn't have let themselves be in a position to get killed. Cloud9 blew up. That's what the meme comes from, I guess. Like, I'm laughing at the meme, not like that Xin died. Xin dying is sort of just like, whatever. Okay, he should die there. Oh, I just got Cacao talked. Hold on, I don't know if it's important. This is going to be eternalized in the YouTube video. Alright. Alright. Okay, so at this point in the game, you can see that minions have to travel so far. This is one of the problems with taking tier 2s so early. And the reason that it was okay for Afreeca to take a tier 2 instead of like Cloud9 is because Afreeca is fine with minions taking a long time. Afreeca is fine with minions taking a long time, Cloud9 is not. If Afreeca can ever permafreeze these 2 spots that I'm like coloring in, it's a nightmare for Cloud9 because they don't have turret cracking capabilities inside of their team comp. So all Afreeca has to say to themselves is, hey, let's just do nothing and accept that inaction is action for the next like 7 minutes, and then it becomes so increasingly more difficult for Cloud9 to win. But knowing Afreeca, maybe they're going to try to fight for map vision and all this other stuff because, you know. Alright, so they're just wave clearing. Don't contest vision in your red side jungle. Cloud9 needs to somehow trick them into fighting. That's basically Cloud9's goal right now, is they have to deceive them into believing that a fight is more advantageous than it actually seems. And you do that through vision manipulation, which is, it seems like what that is what they're trying to do. All right, so right here, look, we see the blue trinket, right? They're not on Baron, so they're not on Baron, which means that it doesn't matter where the fuck they are, because as long as they're not on this, it doesn't matter where they are. They can be here, they can be here, 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 they can be here, here, they could be fucking up here, they could be over here, they could be in North America, they could be here. Nothing matters, because all that matters is that they're not doing this, which means that the play from Afreeca is the same. It's the same as if they're here, 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 here. It's just to not go near any of the Fog of War. You don't push. That's the opposite of what is good. Nope. We don't look for a team fight. No, we wait. We wait for this. And we wait for this. And we wait for this to get fixed. Son of a bitch. What does Cloud9 need right now? They need fights. They need picks. They need Baron. What does Afreeca need? So, Afreeca doesn't realize that Cloud9 needs something to happen in order for them to win the game. And they don't play against it. So what does Afreeca do? They do what they wanted to do, which is they want to try to get kills and end the game. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're fighting over luxury vision. So, all right, if you're new to my stream or VOD reviews or something, I have a term that I call luxury vision. If all of this was done, so we actually just saw it a second ago. Okay, in this spot right here, the Fog of War. Okay, watch when they, right here, right? All that matters is that they know that Baron's not being done. You don't need a warden here. You don't need a warden here. You don't need a warden here. You do not need a ward here. You don't need a ward here. You do not need a ward here. Because if you know that simply Baron's not being started, then what it means is that you choose to just simply not go near any of the Fog of War in general. You don't need to know where the opponent is to make your decision or to make your choice. So just a few moments later, you'll notice that they're clearing out luxury vision. Right here, or not right here. Where is it? Right here. They're clearing out luxury vision. They don't need to have control over this brush, this brush, this brush, or anything around here. Because they can get it, they can get the same thing by controlling it from up here. I don't care about the fucking fight. They can get the same thing by controlling it from right here and placing wards into Baron. All of this area is irrelevant for Afreeca. Doesn't matter if Cloud9's piling up in this brush, or this brush, because this only matters if you're trying to think about how to approach them and fight them. which Afreeca should not have in mind as a general game plan right now, because another Infernal Drake's coming up soon. All that you need to do is defensively go through your red side jungle, keep the freeze up in top lane so that Cloud9 doesn't have a lane to work with, wait for Aatrox to respawn down into bottom lane and get his split push going, and then stall and wait for the next Infernal Drake, capture the next Infernal Drake, wait for 3.5 items, and then fight Cloud9. Aatrox. That's so sad. It's going to be a 3v5 because they were fighting over Luxury Vision. Afreeca is not identifying what Cloud9 needs. I talk about this a lot with NA teams, and usually I talk about this with bottom-end Korean teams, but Afreeca is showing us here that I think that they belong in NA. I don't know. Jesus Christ. Afreeca demoted to NA. They're making very poor decisions. And obviously I'm being a little bit hyperbolic about how poor they are, just to emphasize how poor they are and why it's so sad to see them making it. It seems like they're almost also being disrespectful towards Cloud9. Like, they're wanting to take fights, I think, because they believe themselves to be capable of simply just out-muscling Cloud9. Cloud9's backing up now. Kramer can take that. Wait, Kramer could take that. Huh? Oh, he's not in range. Oh. I thought the range was long enough. Coach, by the way. Cloud9 backs up. They get the Infernal Drake together. I think this is really good. And it looks like Sneaky's actually clearing out the Wraiths. Okay. Everything for Cloud9 is really good. They have a gold lead. They have an Infernal Drake to match Afreeca's. But the problem is that if Afreeca can stabilize, Infernal Drake, or Cloud Drake, and ultimately Elder Drake is still whiles away. So as long as Afreeca can stabilize, things are okay. One of the problems is that Victor doesn't have damage. He has hybridized damage right now. He has the physical coming out of Iceborne, and then he has a Banshee's Veil, which is defensive. So he's not dealing that much with his laser and his Chaos Storm, and then also he has Mercury Treads. So Victor is sort of like compromised as a champion. One of the reasons that Victor hasn't been in the meta for so long is because AP Victor absolutely sucks dick. I know that he was getting picked up a little bit inside of Summer and whatnot, but Champion's just so bad. He's lacking a lot of the damage that he used to offer and whatnot. And when you hybridize his damage, he becomes this really mid-rangey champion that spikes at 2 items, and then he gets progressively worse as the game goes on, unless the enemy team composition is really, really bad against him, in which case Victor's going to be Victor. So in this case, it looks like, okay, I don't know what the hell Mowgli was doing. That's going to be the end of the game. Didn't need to... You were guaranteed to lose the inhibitor. So I don't know. Like, he gets poked at, and then he jumps onto... I don't get it. It looks like they were just content with losing. I think Griffin could have won Worlds. Someone in Twitch chat just asked. Okay, so that's it for this game. So I want to comment on a few things. I think that Cloud9 was making very desperate plays that required the opponents to mess up. And this is consistent with what I saw of them in group stages. So I'm still not really that impressed. I mean, it's impressive to see them out-muscling Afreeca. That's really good. I think that Sneaky's performance so far in the 2 games this series has been the best out of any of the players. I think that Jensen's LeBlanc in game 1 was really, really good. I think that Keen is basically trying to drag 4 people across the finish line, and he's not managing to. I think that a kill on Kuro is a kill wasted, because his performance this game was just really, really bad. Afreeca looked way too overeager to end the game, and they weren't playing towards their win cons rather than trying to just end it sooner. They weren't assessing properly what Cloud9 needed to happen, and they gave Cloud9 multiple things that Cloud9 needed. Really overall low-level play from Afreeca, and then Cloud9's punishing them in the mechanical fights and just outmaneuvering them in that regard, which is a skill in and of itself. It feels like this Worlds, the macro level of play from all of the teams has been underwhelmingly poor, and it's been more of a World that's been decided by team fights and like mechanics. And one of the reasons that it makes me uncomfortable is because there's such clear-cut advantages, like in this game, right? Where's that team fight that just ruins everything? It's at like 23, right? Or is it right here? It's right here, yeah, it's at 23. This is such a clear-cut example of they don't want to fight. Look at Zin's items, right? Look at this. Zin's gonna complete his item soon. Victor's gonna complete Banshees probably in like 4 or 5 minutes, right? There's absolutely zero reason not to just wait for the next Infernal Drake, because the base scaling of their champions are superior compared to Cloud9's. So not only is the base scaling better, the items are better. So it makes no sense. No, Cloud9 can't just arbitrarily start the Baron. When you're this good at the game, or you're pros, you can calculate the speed at which someone's able to do the Baron. Cloud9 can't just arbitrarily start it. And then the other thing is that if Afreeca pushes out this wave and stand right here and wait a little bit, you can eventually just try to check brushes and stuff using skill shots. But that's not what Afreeca did. You see this? They actively looked for a fight. Victor sold boots? What do you mean Victor sold boots? I know they have a Mountain Drake, that doesn't matter. Oh, he sold his boots later. That's really strange. Oh, you're right. He has Mercury Treads later. That's really strange. Yeah, Afreeca were looking like... I mean, in this game and the last game, they look way too overeager to try to accomplish things, and they're trying to move things too fast. At least, and that especially feels true for bottom lane and mid lane. I feel really bad for Keen. Keen has been the overall best performing player of the series so far. Oh, actually, maybe I give that to Sneaky. I'm not sure. I would have to. Sneaky's getting advantages. More so also just because of the pressure that's happening elsewhere. But this game, I guess Licorice was getting kind of dumpstered, and Sneaky still managed to do fine. And Mowgli came bottom twice, even when Mowgli shouldn't have been coming bottom twice. And Sneaky still managed to be okay. And also, Sneaky and Zeyzal had a really good turn on Mowgli at like level 4 or 5. No, it's not Sven. Sven's looking a little bit better than... Like, Sven's looking better than his score would indicate, because the laners are doing really good. That's the reality of the situation. Like, Sven's route in game 1, like on Xin, this into the gank on mid works because Kuro messed up, because I don't even fucking know why. Actually, Kuro just was a donkey. And then Jensen got a solo kill, and then Jensen had enormous amounts of pressure and was able to roam. Yeah. Okay, so that's it for this game.